Hi students, welcome to our chemistry class. Our chapter name is wastewater story. In this chapter basically we are dealing with wastewater. That is how the wastewater is produced, how we can make it clear. These things actually we are discussing in this chapter, and in the previous class we discussed about how the wastewater is formed. And then later we discussed about how we can make the wastewater clear. That means how we can treat polluted water. Actually it have number of steps are there. As a introduction we just started one activity. In the last class we just started that, and the experiment was this: just take one beaker, fill it with 3/4 of water, and then add some organic matter and inorganic matter. That means some sort of, first take a beaker, fill it with 3/4 of water, normal water, and add some fruit peels, then some sort of grass pieces, soap, then ink, like some of the things we are just mixing, and shake it well and close this and put under sunlight for 2 days. And then what happens? That is our question. First we just made it as, after 2 days, collect this one of the test tube filled with this mixture after these 2 days, and we call it as sample 1. What is the smell? Is it very pleasant smell? No, it is very unpleasant smell or very foul smell because of the presence of this matter. And so, we are going to make this water clear or clean. That is our process. For that, we just said that first we are going to give air to this. Air means actually we are giving oxygen. How we are giving oxygen? We are giving oxygen by using aerator. That means we are just giving the same thing we are using in the aquarium and all. You can see some sort of device we are connecting and the bubbles will come. What is that bubbles? That bubbles are oxygen. So in the similar way, we just operated that and giving oxygen to this mixture. And why we are giving these all things we already discussed in the last class. We are just making it, refreshing the memories. And so the thing is this: when we are giving oxygen to this mixture, that oxygen is absorbed by the bacteria present inside this liquid, and so they just decompose the substances present in this. That means they just decompose the waste by these microbes. And so for that we are providing oxygen to this mixture. That means with the presence of oxygen, the microbes make this decompose. They are just getting decomposed. And so after the aeration we are just taking the liquid again, and that is the sample 2. This is sample 1 before aeration. And so now what we are going to do? We are going to do the next step, and that is filtration. We are going to discuss this filtration. Before that, one thing is there. What happens when the bacteria acts on this matter? When the bacteria acts, they produce carbon dioxide and water. That means this matter is converted to carbon dioxide and water. So, still after this aeration for one overnight, what happens? Still it is having some sort of waste is there, and we just want to filter this. For that we need one funnel, one filter paper, and some sort of gravel, gravel, then some sort of sand, like substances we required for this filtration. So now we are going to discuss the filtration. I just started this topic in the last day, and now we are going to study in detail. we need one funnel. And inside this funnel we just want to put one filter paper and put sand at the bottom, fine gravel, and here middle gravel. So this is the setup. This fine gravel means small stones. This middle gravel means it is having more size than this fine gravel. And this is our sand. This is the setup. So I will show you how the experiment will be. For this activity we need one funnel and also one filter paper. Actually this is not filter paper, only color paper, but I have no filter paper, and so we are just demonstrating the experiment using this color paper. So first take this color paper and we want to make it as one cone. That means I am just folding this and now going to make it as a cone. So now you can see this is one cone. And now I am going to place this inside our funnel. So this is our setup, and inside this filter paper we just want to first put the sand, then we just want to put the fine gravel, and at the top we just want to put the middle gravel. So this is our setup, and we just want to pour the waste water through this and the thing is getting filtered. So this is the setup for filtration, and so I just think it's okay for you. And now this is all about the filtration. To make water clear, we just want to repeat this filtration number of times. That means 2, 4 or 5 times we just want to repeat this activity, and finally we will get clear water. So this is what filtration. Here you just want to remember sand, fine gravel and the middle gravel. These are the things about this filtration. And now, even if after the filtration they may left some microbes inside our water, we are just collecting this water after filtration inside a beaker, and even inside this water, this filtration, you can see some sort of microbes may present inside this water. How we can kill these microbes? We can kill these microbes using some chlorine tablets. Chlorine tablets or using chlorine powder. And so, I can call this process called chlorination. Chlorination is nothing but the process of killing microbes using chlorine tablets or chlorine powder. So that is called chlorination. So we can say killing germs. The process of killing germs using chlorine is called chlorination. So generally we are using this chlorination in our well, our tank and all to kill the germs present in the water. And so after the chlorination our water is pure. So within this experiment we collected some samples. At first our sample is this, which is the waste water, first stage water. And then the second is the aerated water. And the third is our filtered water. That means after filtration we just collected it in test tube, and that is the sample number 3. And the fourth sample is this, our chlorinated water. Fourth sample, very simple. And so the thing is this, have any variation with the smell of this sample 1, 2, 3 and sample 4? Yes, of course. This is having very foul smell, and after the first process it is having some sort of smell is getting decreased, and in the third sample the smell is again very much decreased, and also this is the sample after filtration. That means no such big particles, so nothing will be left here. Even if some microbes will be there in the water, and for that we are killing it using the chlorination. And so the thing is this here, total, the water is very clear. And so what is the smell of this? Again the foul smell? No. Here after the chlorination you will get the smell of chlorine. Smell of chlorine for this water. Actually it is some sort of a different smell, but still no microbes will be there. So that is the thing about this process. Why we are studying this? Actually this is a small thing or small introduction for the wastewater treatment. That means how we can treat the wastewater. So these steps are related to the wastewater treatment. We know in our home different types of wastewater is produced because of the daily usage. That means food waste is there, human waste is there, and then the soap water. Like different types of wastewater is produced in our home day by day. And what we are using? Generally we are just making it clear and spread it over our surrounding itself. And what we'll do in the town areas and all this water is collected through the pipes, and we are traveling this, or we are collecting this to a particular plant, and that is WWTP. That means we are just collecting this water and put it in this WWTP and make it clear. That means we are making it pure and throwing it to seawater, river, or to the land or something. So, what is the full form of this WWTP? That is very simple. The full form is this: waste water treatment. So, this is the full form for WWTP, wastewater treatment plant. What is this wastewater treatment plant doing? Actually, the wastewater treatment plant makes the wastewater clear. That means inside that some sort of chemicals are there, some sort of pebbles, stones, plastic bottles, like different types of chemicals are there, mixed oil, grease, everything will be there. And so, actually in this wastewater treatment plant, there we are making it clear and avoiding, or we are just giving it to sea or river, something like that. Suppose we are not treating it properly and just avoiding, or we are just giving it to the river or sea, what happens? Then it of course lead to water pollution. Or when we are just leaving it on the soil, it will cause soil pollution. Or when we are burning it, what happens? It will cause to air pollution. So the thing is, this we just want to make it clear. And so we are using it wastewater treatment plant. Here, within this wastewater treatment plant, it includes physical process, then chemical process, biological process, so the thing is this, for the wastewater treatment plant, it contains different types of process. That means actually it happens with number of steps, step by step process. For that it contains physical process is the, chemical process is the, biological process is the. So within this process, within this treatment, different types of process are there. Physical process means some sort of filtration, like some things happens. Chemical process means we are just adding chlorine powder, that is actually a chemical process. And biological process means the action of bacteria is actually biological process. So within the physical process, physical matter, that means within the physical process, physical matter is dealing, and with the chemical process, chemical matter, and for this biological process, biological matter is there. So the thing is this, within the wastewater treatment plant, there occurs different types of process. That means physical process is the, chemical process is the, biological process is the. So this is just the introduction. Now we are going to study in detail about the wastewater treatment plant. That is actually step by step process. Here we are going to explain the steps for wastewater treatment plant. One of the important topics in this chapter, how the process occurs. You just want to study the steps, how we are making the water clear. So for that, first step is this. We are taking the wastewater and transferring it through bar screen. Bar screen is actually a type of screen which contain holes. That means this is our bar screen. So we just want to pass the wastewater through this bar screen. This is our first step. Take the wastewater and transfer it through bar screen. Bar screen is nothing but it is a type of, actually here occurs the filtration itself. So we are filtering the water using the bar screen. That means the water will come out through this bar screen and big particles. Particles means big substances like plastic bottle, plastic packets, stick, rags, cans, napkins, etc. get left here. That means we are just passing the wastewater through the bar screen, and then this happens, this big substances are getting blocked at the left side and the water is getting transferred through this. So the big particles are getting filtered from our water using bar screen. This is the first step. Very simple step. I hope it's clear. Our first step is this. We just want to transfer the wastewater through bar screen, and so what happens? Our big waste particles like plastic bottle, plastic packets, sticks, rags, can, napkins, etc. get away from the water. So this is our first step. Now we are moving to the second stage or second step. Here in the second step, first big particles are, we just removed it, and now the water we are going to put in a particular tank. That is, after the bar screen, the water move to a particular tank. And here the name of the tank is this grit and sand removal tank. So our water will come and fill in this tank, and the name of this tank is grit and sand removal tank. Actually this grit means some sort of stones, like small pebbles or something. That is actually this grit. And so the thing is this, we are just leaving the water to a particular tank, and that tank is having the name grit and sand removal tank. What happens we are just leaving the water, and what happens? These pebbles, sand and this grit all are getting deposited at the bottom. Deposited at bottom. And one more thing is when the first water is flowing and come to this tank, and the speed of the water is getting decreased here. And so the thing is very simple. Why we are reducing the speed of water? To deposit these things inside this tank. So at the second step, we are just leaving the water inside the grit and sand removal tank, and the thing happens is this grit and sand particles are getting deposited under the tank. And so what happens? At the top, the water will move to the next tank or next process. That is about this second process. I think it's clear for you. Nothing is there. We are just taking the water to a particular tank, and what happens? The speed is getting reduced for this water, and so the sand, the pebbles, the grit, everything is getting deposited, and the water at the top side is getting flowed to the next tank. This is the second step. Now we are moving to the third step. Within the third step, we are taking the water in another tank. Third step. Here, after the sedimentation of the pebbles, sand and all, we are just taking the water to next tank. That tank is having the speciality at the center. It is having a slope region. At the center, it is having a slope region. The water is just reached to our tank. This is one big tank, and here we are just leaving this to again sedimenting. That means it is getting deposit here. So what happens? After some time, again we get some sort of deposits at the bottom, and this is what? Feces. So after some time, here the water is filled, and so we are just leaving it for depositing. After some time, what happens? The feces are getting deposited at the bottom. What is this feces? Feces means some sort of waste water, waste particles, human waste, everything means for this feces. So it is getting deposited, and the top water we just want to remove it to next tank. And before that, we just want to tell something. Here, these feces are present here, and we just want to remove it. And we use a particular tool to remove these feces, and that name of the tool is scraper. So using the scraper, we just remove the feces, And so using this scraper, this feces is converted to a particular state, and I can call it as sludge. Sludge is actually waste water. So the thing is this, within this feces we are just using the scraper and converting it to sludge. Now the thing is this sludge is now transferred to another tank. At first it is feces. What is getting deposited is what? Feces, and that is we are just making it using a particular tool and converting to another state, and that is sludge. And now we are moving the sludge to a separate tank. So we are moving the sludge to a separate tank. And the speciality of the tank is this. Inside this tank, it contains anaerobic bacteria. Anaerobic bacteria. So, what is this anaerobic bacteria? We are using in some cases aerobic bacteria and in some cases we are using anaerobic bacteria. What is this aerobic and anaerobic bacteria? This anaerobic bacteria is the bacteria which do not need oxygen for the decomposition or for the survival. So the thing is this, for this anaerobic bacteria, it do not need oxygen. Inside this tank there is having no oxygen, but still it can act to decompose the waste or the sludge. So here the thing happens is the sludge is getting decomposed using the anaerobic bacteria and they produce some sort of gas, some sort of biogas. We can use it as fuel. We can use it as fuel or we can use to produce electricity. So the thing is this, first we do the water collected to this tank and then some sort of feces are getting deposited at the bottom and we are using some sort of scraper, and what happens? This is getting converted to sludge and then we are just removing this sludge to this. I am not saying that the whole water is getting to the another tank, not that. We are only separating the sludge to a separate tank here, and inside that it contains anaerobic bacteria. Anaerobic bacteria means the bacteria which do not need oxygen for decomposition, and so it acts with the sludge and they produce some sort of biogas. That means some gas is produced then that we can use as fuel or to produce electricity. That is about the sludge. Still our water is here remains, and what we just want to use that water, that we are going to discuss next. So here we just made our water, something is deposited. Now we are discussing about this water. What happens to the water? Inside this water may contain some sort of oil, grease or something. So first we just want to remove that oil, grease and all. And you know that things are getting floated on the water. That we are removing using a particular thing, and that is skimmer. So the thing is very simple. On the surface of water, the oil, grease and all are getting floated on the surface of water, and we are removing it using skimmer. So that is about the oil, grease and all. Again our water is getting more and more clear. Now we are moving this to the another tank and doing this. So we just want to add air to this. Now our water is here. Inside this water we just want to provide air. That means aeration. We just want to provide oxygen. For what? This oxygen needs for the decomposition. For whom? For aerobic bacteria. For aerobic bacteria. So the thing is this, inside this we just want to give air for this aerobic bacteria, and so the left matter in this water is getting decomposed by whom? By aerobic bacteria. So for that we are providing aeration. That is the next step, step number 4. Fourth fourth step. That means after the sedimentation and the deposition of the water, we just taking the water to another tank and providing oxygen. Why? To make it decompose using the aerobic bacteria. Aerobic bacteria means the bacteria needs oxygen for decomposition. So that is the step, and so within this they just decompose human waste, food waste, soap and other unwanted substances. So this is the fourth step, and so these all are about this. And after several hours, again we are just leaving it within the same tank. After several hours, what happens? The bacteria are getting deposited at the bottom. They are just getting deposited at the bottom. So after so many hours, the bacteria is getting deposited at the bottom. This is microbes. These microbes are getting deposited at the bottom, and we just take the water at the top. And I am going to call this a particular name. That means the bacteria and also some sort of materials are getting deposited there now. And so I can call that a name, and that is activated sludge. Activated sludge. Only this bottom part. So the name of the bottom part, the microbes, I already said they are getting deposited at the bottom, and so this region, these microbes, these organic substances all getting deposited at the bottom together, I call it as activated sludge. And this is the water. I can call it as a particular name, and that is nothing but clarified water. This is clarified water. That means clear water. That is the meaning of this clarified water. So we are just taking, this is the water, and the bottom part is what? Activated sludge. And actually within this activated sludge, it is contained 97% of water itself. So that region contains mostly 97% it's contain water, and the left part is what? What is the name? It is activated sludge. That means it contains some sort of sludge. And so actually we are just taking away the water. That means we are just removing the water, and so the final sludge, the dry sludge, we can use it as manure. We can use it as manure, this dry sludge. And the clarified water, it is actually clear form, but still may contain, we said that it is getting deposited, the microbes are getting deposited, may contain still some sort of microbes may left here, and so in some cases we are using chlorination for making this water more clear. We are just doing chlorination. Chlorination means the action of chlorine tablets inside the water to kill germs. So here we can see using the chlorination we are finally killing all the germs, and so now we are leaving this water to sea, river, to the land, or anywhere we can deposit. So why we are doing all these things? To make our water clear and to protect our nature. If we are not doing all these things and directly put this to sea, river and all, what happens? It will damage our water resources, the organisms living in sea, river and all. And so that's why we are doing this wastewater treatment. And we are doing it in wastewater treatment plant. Treatment means we are making it clear using particular step-by-step process. So this is all about our wastewater treatment plant. The process is very important. You just want to study the steps. The proper note is given. You just want to study that. This is all about today's class. We will meet in the next class with the further topics left in this chapter. Thank you.